Welcome back to the Around the Block Sports Show. Today, we have NBA news. The first half of the regular season is officially scheduled. All of the games came out, and a couple days ago, we had some leaks with the opening night games and the Christmas games. My Celtics, we have the Nets coming on Christmas and the Bucks coming on opening night. What do we think about those?
I think it'll be interesting to see the Celtics if they can prove themselves at the beginning of the season. Two tough games against two top five teams. We'll get to our predictions later, but two good. I mean, those teams are probably locked to the playoffs, and it'll be interesting to see the Celtics get going right out of the gate.
Yeah, I think you're right, but also I think those teams have a lot to prove too. I think it's going to be interesting to see Kevin Durant back from injury, Kyrie back from injury, a Bucks team with Drew Holiday should be interesting to see. We can move on to our NBA standings predictions. Drew and I, we did our 1 through 10, now 10 with the new playing format. I'll start at the number one seed. I picked the Bucks. I think they brought in Drew Holiday, and they have a lot to prove. Giannis is gonna want to come back. He's not gonna win MVP, but he's gonna want to come and play really well this season and prove that his team can do better than a 5-game gentleman sweep in the second round to the young Heat.
I also have the Bucks at 1. Similar reasons. Drew Holiday is going to really blossom in this role, and I feel like the Bucks just needed this point guard. Like they had Eric Bledsoe, who just couldn't really lead them anywhere, like to accompany Giannis.
He's a playoff choker. Number 2 seed, I have the Celtics. I think Jason Tatum's going to improve. I think Jaylen Brown's going to improve. Kemba out for until I think mid-January, they said. You get Aaron Nesmith, you get Tristan Thompson. I think they're going to be a very similar team to last year, considering that Hayward was out for a lot of last year and out for most of the playoffs. And I think you're going to see a pretty solid team. Again, people doubting, we're going to come out. We're going to shock the world.
For my number 2, I had the Brooklyn Nets. I have a prediction that James Harden will be there by the end of the season. The Nets have a lot of trade assets with their depth, including Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, and Landry Shamet as well. But also KD's coming back from injury. Kyrie, who knows? He's kind of trash.
Yeah, kind of. Also a snake. He's more of a snake than KD now.
But that team went a lot of places last year without Kyrie or KD at the helm. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if the young talent can work with the superstars they have.
Yeah, who knows? You know, we saw Clippers not really work out this year, where another team, they had something good going on. They pushed the Warriors to 6 games, and then you add Paul George and Kawhi, and there were some locker room issues. So, I don't know. It should be interesting to see.
But then on the other end of the spectrum, you have the Lakers with Anthony Davis and LeBron, obviously.
Of course. But, you know, you could also say that those two are such polarizing figures, players, etc., that, like, they're, like, probably 2 top 5 players. And Kyrie, he might be top 15 maybe. Obviously, KD is probably top 5. But, I don't know. It's difficult to say. Next on my list, are we at 3 or 4?
3.
Okay, 3, I have the Nets. Similar reasons. I think they're going to be a good team. I just think in the regular season, at least, they're going to be figuring themselves out a little. Probably, I think, not as good as the Celtics.
3, I had Adam and I flip-flopped here. I had the Celtics at 3. I feel like they're just going to stay the same in the regular season-wise, but I think they're going to make a good playoff push and possibly win the Eastern Conference.
Okay. 4, I have the Miami Heat. They went to the NBA Finals. They're bringing back pretty much everyone except Jay Crowder, and it should be an interesting season for them. You know, they didn't really play up to their I won't say potential because no one knew that they were going to be that good, but they didn't really play as well in the regular season as they ended up playing in the playoffs, and so it should be interesting to see how they fare in this season.
For my number 4, I have the 76ers, mainly because the new change in management and coaching there. Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers are good signings for that team management-wise, and I feel like he's going to really lead and push those players well. You have the talent in Simmons and Embiid, obviously.
Yeah, still yet to see if Doc Rivers is really a good coach, but I think this might be the last year of Ben and Embiid if they don't play well together. Because I think Daryl Morey is not going to be afraid to pull the trigger on a trade, maybe for Harden or something like that. He loves James Harden, so that could be interesting. At 5, I have the 76ers, and pretty much for the same reasons. I think they're going to be a little bit middle of the pack. I think they definitely improved with Seth Curry and Danny Green, but and they also got Al Horford's contract off the books, so that should be pretty good for them. And I think they'll do fine, but I think they're going to disappoint in the playoffs once again.
Adam and I flip-flopped again for my 5. I have the Heat. I think Tyler Hero is going to continue to grow as a player. Jimmy Butler and Bam, obviously, are going to carry that team. And Duncan Robinson, I feel like, will have a bigger role than he did last season, which will keep them in the playoffs for sure and probably keep them as contenders.
So a little bit of a drop here. At 6, I have the Raptors. I think losing Marc Gasol and Serge is pretty bad, but I think it's more just all the other teams are getting better, and the Raptors, they didn't get better that much, I would say. And I mean, they're a pretty good regular season team, so you never know. But I don't know. I just think that they're gonna disappoint a little bit in the regular season, at least.
I also had the Raptors at 6. Watch out for OG Anunoby. That's all I'm going to say.
They don't bother me there. 7, I have the Pacers, and I was a little hesitant about this. I think there's a lot going on. They're trying to trade like Miles Turner, Oladipo, happy, unhappy. Like, I feel like no one really knows. It's kind of confusing, and I don't know. I just think their season is definitely intriguing. It's something to look out for, and once again, like Oladipo coming back, who knows how good he's going to be. It looks like they're gearing up to build around Sabonis. So
I also the Pacers at 7. The X factor there, determining if they'll get that spot or not. TJ Warren, will he perform like he did in the bubble?
No.
Or will he not?
You can't expect him to perform like he did in the bubble. And even so, I think they're going to be here. Next, at the 8 spot, just sneaking in, of course, with the new format, we have 9 and 10. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Hawks. I think they're a solid team. I think the only worrisome thing is they have all these guys, Gallinari, Kongwu, they have Clint Capella, they have their wing spot is now jam-packed with what's it called? DeAndre Hunter and guys like that, and Cam Reddish. And I don't know, it just should be interesting. There's a lot of guys. You have also Rondo, Chris Dunn. There's just one ball, and that's the thing. Like, in the end, people say depth is good, but realistically, you want to have a good front couple players. And, there's people like Bogdan. You're probably going to start him because there's no way you're going to pay that much for him and not start him. So it's just going to – I think they'll get in at 8.
The all-college basketball team down in Atlanta, I also have them at 8. You have DeAndre Hunter, great at Virginia, Cam Reddish at Duke, Trae Young at Oklahoma. Like, these guys were excellent in Okongwu at USC. These guys were all great in college basketball, but definitely will be interesting to see if they can sneak in this year, especially because they didn't play in Orlando last summer.
Yeah. Next, I was a little hesitant to put them even this low. I have the Washington Wizards. I think Westbrook can lead a team pretty much by himself, and I think people undervalue him a little. I think clearly he's not as good as his prime. He's a little past his prime, but his prime was an MVP. So I don't know. I think that should be a interesting situation. You have the Latvian Laser coming back on a big contract. He's probably going to start with that bag. You have new draft picks, Denny and Rui coming back from another season, and yeah, should be interesting to see.
And you also Jerome Robinson,
of course, the great BC star.
At my number 9, who will be competing for a playoff spot, will be the Orlando Magic. They fell by 1 in my rankings, but this is mainly because Jonathan Isaac is likely done for the year. If not, he is done for the year, because he had that bad, again, ACL injury, re-injury in the bubble. But it'll be interesting to see if Gordon, Fournier, and Vooch stick around in Orlando.
Yeah, should be interesting. That team falling out of my rankings, I have the Hornets at number 10. I think they're a young, exciting team. I think LaMelo, Gordon Hayward, it's going to be an interesting kind of duo, maybe you could say, like trio with like Miles Bridges running the floor with them. You also have PJ Washington, and I don't know. I think they're going to be exciting in those amazing jerseys.
I also the Hornets at 10, similar reasons. I think LaMelo is going to have a breakout year, or first breakout year, I guess. But I also think guys like Malik Monk and Devontae Graham are going to continue to develop and rise that core down there in Charlotte.